What's going on, all my heavy metal homesteaders? This is Jeremy, Bright Spring Homestead. We're doing something a little different tonight. I have to stay up late so I can go to work tomorrow night, and everyone's asleep and it's dark outside, so I can't really do any chores. So what I'm gonna do is I'm making two things. First thing is my famous hard apple cider. The quick and easy method. It's delicious. We love it. And it gets you messed up, if that's what you're going for. Of course, you can change the alcohol by volume, or ABV, by making a few adjustments to the recipe. Not letting it set as long, or not adding any extra sugars, or what have you. Just kind of depends on the yeast you're using. The second thing we're doing is we're going to make watermelon wine. We have a bunch of watermelons. We like watermelons, but they don't stay long. And you can only eat so much watermelon. So I'm going to make a batch of watermelon wine. This is the first time I'm going to make watermelon wine. So it's a learning experience, and hopefully it's delicious. I heard it's really good. So that's what we're gonna do, because we have watermelons. So I'm going to take you through the steps that I'm going to take. I'm probably gonna cut this video in half and make two videos. One apple cider video, one apple cider video and one watermelon video. So without further ado, before I start to ramble, let's get to making some booze, huh? Yeah. So these are the two demijohns that I'm going to be using, or carboys. I like to call them demijohns. This one is the one that Christine got me for Christmas a couple years ago. It's got a big wide mouth. I love this thing. It's got a big wide mouth. It's easy to clean because you can reach your arm in there, which this other one, a more traditional style, has a really narrow bung hole, and it's a pain in the butt to clean because you have to use one of these, and it's a pain. It works. It just takes some time, and if you know me, I'm not all that patient. So this is what we're going to be using. I'm going to be making the watermelon wine in this, and the cider in this, mainly because the cider is going to be done a lot sooner than the watermelon wine. So this is going to be easier to transport because it also has straps. They're drying. I just washed them. I washed both of these, and I also washed the straps. I'm going to wash everything and sanitize everything. But these are going to be my vessels for the delicious boozing. So let's get everything prepped so we can start boozinating these demijohns. Alright, so first we're going to start out with the watermelon wine. It's going to take the longest because I have to heat up the watermelon, cut it up, scrape it out into this big old pot, and heat it up on the stove. Just enough to liquefy the flesh, because if we were to just juice it and squeeze it out, just the juice put in here, we need a lot more watermelons. Plus, if you melt down the flesh, liquefy it, you get a lot more watermelon flavor. So that is what we're gonna do. So first thing, big old knife, big old watermelon, big old pot. We're just gonna start cutting into this thing. Ooh, it feels nice. Oh, look how pretty that is. Isn't that just the prettiest thing you ever did see? Oh, it smells so good too. Freaking love watermelon. Alright. Cut that bad boy in half. Now, I'm going to cut it into smaller, more manageable pieces. Ooh. And I have it on a cookie sheet to try to hold all the juices in. Ooh, because this is a juicy mamma jamma. Alright, so just gotta take it, start cutting out the flesh. You gotta get a spoon. All right, so this full pot o' watermelon was 3 medium to large size watermelons. That's all I'm gonna do for now, at least, because that's obviously all the room that I have in that pot. So we will heat it up, liquefy the flesh, gonna liquefy that flesh, and see what that gets us in the demijohn. So it's probably gonna take a while because we have electric stove, and that's a lot of watermelon. So probably while we're doing that, we'll take some steps for the cider making. The cider making is a lot easier. A lot easier. At least the method I'm using. We're not using actual apples, so. But you'll see that on the next video. So, alright. Well, next time you see this, it'll be all hot and liquefied. Okay, so we got our big bag of sugar, we got our best we could do funnel, and a big ol' 4-cup measuring cup. So 2 pounds of sugar, 2 cups of sugar makes 1 pound. So this should hold 2 pounds of sugar. That means we will need 6 of these to make 12 pounds. Or 24 cups. So, let's get scooping. And everything's been washed and sanitized, so it's all good in the hood. It's close enough to 4. Alright, now, watch this magic. See how big of a mess we're gonna make. Not too bad. Not too bad. Actually better than what I thought it was gonna be. So, alright. So it's 1. Six. Approximately 12 pounds of sugar. Not too bad. Yes, not too bad. Whew. So, who wants to see what 12 pounds of sugar in a 6-gallon demijohn looks like? Check this out. That, my friends, is a ton of sugar. Oh my gosh. Ay, ay, ay. And I'm sure some of you are asking me, Jeremy, why so much sugar? That's insane. Well, the reason for such absurd amount of sugar, even I think it's an absurd amount of sugar, but there's a reason. With that much sugar and the yeast that I'm going to use, this is going to make a watermelon wine that's going to be about and around 18% ABV, alcohol by volume. So that's pretty sweet. That's what we're going for. When I'm going to take the initial gravity test with the hydrometer before we do everything, and we'll find out where it's at, and we will, if we need to, we'll add some more, because I believe the recipe actually called for 15, but I'm going to start out at 12 for now, just to see what the projected ABV will be. So I believe the yeast that I'm going to use has a tolerance of about 18 ABV before it starts to die off, before it's so alcoholic that the yeast just dies. So we're going to try this. We're going to, while the watermelon juice is still hot, I'm going to pour it in there, and so that'll help a lot with the dissolving of all this sugar. I'm going to need all the help we can get with the dissolving of this sugar. Look at this watermelon. It has, oopsie. This watermelon has liquefied quite a bit. So I'm cooking it down, like I said, because one, it liquefies the flesh, and I can tell just by stirring it, most of the flesh has been liquefied. It won't liquefy it all, but it'll liquefy the majority of it, and that's good. And also, it will kill any of the natural yeast that's in there, and any other bacteria that could be there. And honestly, with the amount, how long it takes and how steamy it is, we're getting rid of some of the water, condensing that watermelon flavor. So it's, you know, it's all hypothesis, but I think it's gonna work. It smells very watermelony. Hot watermelon. Delicious. Look at that. Pigs are gonna like this tomorrow. So this is actually gonna have to cool to room temperature before I can pitch the yeast. If I pitch the yeast while it's too hot, it could kill the yeast or retard its ability to be yeasty. So it's already 4 o'clock, and I'm pretty much done with the cider. I'm going to take a gravity reading and write that down, pitch the yeast, and set it away in the basement. And then this is probably going to take quite a while to cool down enough. Alright, so this watermelon juice has cooled down. I filled up the sink with cold water, put it in there, stirred it up several times, dropped it down to about 115 or so. So it's going to be workable. I can use the tools that I need to use to do what I'm about to do. So all the pulp doesn't liquefy, so there's still some pulp, even a couple pieces of green rind, and the seeds that we need to get out before we put it in the carboy. So what I think I'm going to do, what I am going to do, I don't really have any other choice, is I'm going to take a clean and sanitized tea pitcher and a clean and sanitized muslin bag. And I'm going to put said clean and sanitized muslin bag inside of tea pitcher. Fold it over around the outside. Voila! So I'm going to take, this is pretty heavy to do this with right now. So I'm going to take our handy dandy 4-cup measuring cup after I rinse all the sugar out of it, or clean all the sugar out of it. I'm going to scoop this into here, wring out the juice, save the pulp and whatnot to feed for the pigs or the chickens or the chicks or the turkeys, any one of the animals that we have. If you're on a homestead, never throw away food. You always have something else that'll eat it. So, at least we do anyway. So I'm going to rinse this out and I'm going to start scooping and squeezing. Alright, so I filled this thing up to about where it's at and squeezed out of this whole pitcher. I got that much pulp out. Oh, it looks kind of like a heart. But, and I still haven't squeezed all of the juice out of it. But I'm going to put this on a cookie sheet and kind of set it at an angle, see if it'll spread it out and see if it'll juice off by itself anymore. Because, I mean, there's still juice in it. It's just not squeezing out as fast as it once was. I don't want to sit and squeeze for it forever. We've got plenty more of that to do. So I'm going to put this on the cookie sheet and pour this into the thing. This is going to take a while. Stay tuned. Alright guys, 6.5 hours later, I finally got it. And it's not even a full 6 gallons, but you know what? I've been at this for 6 hours. I've been squeezing watermelon through a muslin bag for like 3 hours. I'm done. So there's gonna be a lot of sugar in this. I'm not even, I really don't want to take the time to do a gravity reading, but I guess I better. I'll do that off camera. But, so all we gotta do is check the gravity, put the yeast in, and then put on our handy dandy bubbler. So, let's do the hydrometer reading first. Alright, gonna use our handy dandy auto siphon, pump siphon, to fill up our graduated cylinder. There you have it. Graduated cylinder full. Probably a little too full. Maybe not. Alright. Sanitized. Let's see what we got here. Okay. We've got about 13% alcohol. That's going to be about the same as a cider. I could go ahead and put more sugar in there. I'm not going to. I'm okay with the 13. I'm okay with the 13% wine. I tell you what though, this stuff better be awesome, because the amount of work that I had to do to get this stuff, I've still got to rack and rack like 2 or 3 times, and oh, this stuff better be delicious. Alright guys, super fast edition. I'm in the home stretch. It's 6:39. I've been up since 9 o'clock yesterday. Quick version. Lavalin 71B, same as the apple cider. I'm only going to use one for this because one, it's not even a full 6 gallons. I'd say 4.5 to 5 gallons, but still, just gonna do one. No, I don't need to shake it up. I've been pouring this stuff in little by little. Well, but the sugar. Okay. So, super fast shaken edition. Yeah, look at that bubbles. Nice. Okay. Now, to pitch the yeast. All right. Yeast is pitched. Now, final touch. Bowler airlock. Done. D-U-N, done. All right, guys. So this was a lot of work, but hopefully in the months to possibly a year it's going to take for it to be done and, you know, sat long enough to mellow out. Hopefully it'll be worth it. So I'll definitely let you guys know how it went. So a lot of work, but hopefully it'll be worth it. I'm going to bed, guys. I'm freaking tired. Thanks for watching, and stay awesome, everybody.